What's up, y'all? I am Dan from Tiger Arcade, and on today's episode, I am going to be presenting to you the KO2 by Teenage Engineering. It's essentially the older brother to the original pocket operator, the PO33KO. So the technical full name for this KO2 is the EP133 KO2. That's the full name, but I think everyone just refers to it as the KO2. It's a lot easier. It's basically the pro version of the PO33KO. If I had to explain it in my own words, it's a sampler. I mean, that's really what it is, but it can do a little bit more than that, and I'll go over that in this video by also addressing my concerns of this product and, what I recommend it to people. So, to give a foundation, yes, it is a sampler. It's a sampler with 64 megabytes, which to many might seem very limiting, but it is still possible to, enjoy this product with its limited storage space. Unfortunately, you can't expand the storage, but that is what you're given when you put on samples. They have a very nice sample tool online. Makes it very seamless and easy to put samples on here. However, I put maybe like 30 samples on here and it immediately maxed out. I couldn't go any more than that, and they weren't very long. I wasn't putting on entire songs, some of these were a second to like 3 seconds, but it already maxed out, and I didn't want to erase the factory samples on here, because I couldn't really find a way to bring them back in case I did want them back. So you got to be a little choosy in what you do. You can remove some, so it's all subjective to the user. A little bit more in depth. So you have the ability to have 9 projects. I would view it like a DAW in a sense. So this is basically your DAW, if you will. You have 9 projects, or you can have 9 different songs. And then you have groups within those projects. You have A, B, C, and D. So each group, A, B, C, D, you can store samples in this darker key area where it looks like a calculator, really. You can store samples in each one of those, and you can have up to 999 samples stored on here, depending on the size, obviously, because I don't even have that much on here. I wasn't able to do that. And you can use them literally like just how they were sampled and, hit that button and it will, respond just like that. Or you can play it in the keys mode where you can play it almost like you would on a keyboard, using a scale. So the way that they've kind of organized these, they said A is percussion, B is bass, C, they tried to play it off as like C for chords, but I mean, I would really say that's more like melodies, and your other instruments. It's not just chords, you can do a lot more with that if you wanted to organize it. And D, they said loops. It really depends on how you want to use this, because you can use any group and assign any sample and play it however you want. It doesn't have to be organized like that. They're just trying to help you stay organized, really. And that's helpful. I think it's a good way to view it as you're structuring your song. So, you're not limited. You're not limiting yourself there. So you can also create, long songs on here. It can be like a full song. You're not limited to, like a 16-step sequencer. You can really push this thing to its limits. You have controls for tempo. I like that this has a metronome, makes it really easy to play along with. You can quantize, or you can turn that off into like a free swing mode, Then you also have the notorious fader that many people have had issues with. I didn't think mine had issues, but then I discovered the more I used it, it did have issues, just different from what other people were experiencing. I find that it doesn't read the values accurately on here as you go up and down. And then if I tap it, it always jumps to a number, which is frustrating if I'm holding it, because as soon as I'm holding it, it jumps and spikes to a number. But it's essential to use the fader. You need it for controlling things, and that's leads me to my next part is the effects. The effects was a huge letdown for me. I think that it's got some great effects built into it with delay, reverb, chorus, compressor, distortion. I might be missing one, but those are the ones right off the top of my head, and you can change the parameters, with these two knobs. And then the wet and dry is this fader. The fader can control a lot, like I'm saying. The unfortunate thing about the effects is it's a master effects, so everything has to run through one effects. That's very frustrating for me when I'm trying to build my sound, shape it in a specific way, and I can't. The fader at least allows you to turn it off or on, but overall, you can't, like I'm saying, you can't specify. In group A, every single one of those are now going to have an effect if you turn it on for just even one of those samples. So you have basically 4 categories or groups that you can decide, do I want it in that group? Do I want an effect in that group? Or do I want the master effect in that group, So kind of frustrating. The buttons are very, very satisfying to play, just like an old school calculator. It's a very fun experience to play it. I thought it wasn't going to be, but I actually kind of like the clackiness of it. They're velocity sensitive, and the punch in effects by holding this button and then pressing it, just like on the, OG pocket operator. Overall, I thought that was kind of a successful approach to that, and I thought that it worked out really well. Another issue with mine, so if you notice here, it has a speaker, and the audio sounds like it's coming from a tiny speaker. I thought that I was having a speaker issue. I wasn't. I was actually having an internal processor issue where it kept snapping, crackling, popping, snap, crackle, pop. It was doing that for me, and I discovered it. Whether I was wearing headphones, it was plugged into external speakers, or it was playing through its own internal speaker, I still heard that. It was lag due to over processing, and just like on my normal DAW, I have experienced that when I have too much going on or something that just demands too much of my computer. That was an issue I had on here. Also, I think with time, it would be better to have better packaging on this product and better instructions, because I tried following along with these instructions. These were not good instructions, and overall they were very confusing, and I understand that they have that manual online, which I have referenced a lot to try to understand, because there's a lot of learning curves on here and lots of button combinations that you're going to have to do to do things on here. It's a lot of button combinations. The thing is fun, but overall, I didn't think that it was ready for release. I think they shouldn't have dropped it immediately on everyone like that, because people panicked. Everyone bought it, and then it ended up selling out. And then there was a bunch of issues with it. It would have been nice if they would have maybe teased it first. This is what we have coming. This is what we're working on. And then people started to give maybe feedback. And maybe, I wasn't behind the scenes on that. But it really seemed to get thrown on everyone really fast. And everyone, was hyped into it. I think it has potential, but overall, I'd give it like a C minus. It's okay, but it needs work. It needs a lot of work. That I don't even know if firmware is going to fix all of those issues, since some of it is hardware related, and spec related, how it's been designed. So I would love to see some changes and improvements on this overall. That's kind of my bit. I haven't decided if I'm going to return it or replace it, but it's definitely going to have to be one of those options, because I've already reached out to Teenage Engineering to send it back. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. We'll leave it at that, short, simple. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Peace.